Hi guys, I am Taiho Koga, or at least that's my alias. And this is my mod, Darkest Hour Soby. So I actually had this mod quite a ways back upon ModDB. From a different channel, Google Play. That channel got down, and so now I'm Taiho Koga. Okay, so even though this game ain't played that much nowadays, still I love this game. I actually created two new start points for this game. One in 1881 from a converted game of Victoria, and another from 1899, using convoys all over fighting ships to get a pretty accurate data for the navies of the period. Even though the land forces are somewhat still unbalanced, as well as Heart of Darkness. This is an Africa-only campaign. It includes a number of random countries I lumped in, gave them lots of territories, and yeah, it makes a pretty fun campaign once you get to it. We'll get to it in a later video. Okay, so for this video, and just to explain what this mod is all about and give you a bit of gameplay, we'll begin with Japan, because Japan presents one of the few rising countries in the game. It's a few years after the Meiji era, and will you see be quite challenging to fight against the might of great China. Okay, we start this game. Our policy can be changed. Okay, so briefly, what's in this mod, you'll see eventually. This is the world of 1881, and these are some of their countries. You can see Europe is still pretty much unchanged from the standard 1914 start in Darkest Hour Vanilla. Now you have German Empire, the Austro-Hungarian Empire, the Kingdom of France, Kingdom of Spain. Oh, I have a portrait of Calvo Sotelo. So yeah, there are a few bugs and a few leftovers, and you might even see some historical discrepancies, because nothing is ever 100% perfect. Like this, and there are some rather fantastical countries. Like the Sultanate of Zanj did exist, but its exact territorial extent did not really match what's on the map. But it has to be balanced somehow. And hey, Portugal is given a land bridge. This was actually proposed in some of the earlier colonial arrangements between the great powers, and so I actually gave them one. And this is the South American continent. You can notice Bolivia still has its Rio Branco prize, as well as this piece of territory, the Gran Chaco, I believe. It's fighting a war against Chile along with Peru, and Lima is actually already occupied by Chile. So yeah, this is the standard start from 1881, and there are a few changes. For example, it will not be easy to immediately occupy a country because I diversified the victory points. So for example, if you were to war against Russia and invade from the east, to conquer and annex the whole country, you'll have to go all the way to this last outpost, unless you manage to ally with China or Japan. So in addition to this, I actually added one event chain decision to allow countries to purchase warships. Like for example, I'm gonna purchase a battleship. Oops, it'll say I have insufficient funds. Why? Because I need to have a certain criteria, a certain amount of funds before I actually can do this. So how this works? Well, actually, there are technologies in Dark Tower, as the players already know, because I kind of made this video keeping in mind players will already play the original vanilla. We were trying out this mod. So some technologies have, in fact all technologies have a certain dates, historical years. So the ships become available, new designs become available as per their technological counterparts in the tech tree. So for example, the pre-dreadnought becomes available in 1894. So as soon as that happens, you will notice that you are able to purchase not an ironclad old battleship, but a better one. And for example, if you press this thing and if you had somehow enough money, you will be able to purchase this ship, the Chinyan class. But after 1894, you should be able to purchase a pre-dreadnought through the same option, because that technology has been developed. And so you would then place an order on a slightly larger amount money than you normally will cost you in icy days in Western shipyards. So how this works, you simply press it and an event will fire after a certain period that your ships have been created. But these ships can actually be seized by the Western powers. I actually added this to reflect historical realities at the time. So if you had bad relations with the Western powers, and if you're at war, your ship could likely be delayed or even seized by those powers, which would give you a negative opinion of them. So without further ado, let's start. Okay, Japan here has 3 divisions, and it already owns Okinawa. But then there is this sprawling Qing Empire. You know, it's had only 19 IC, while you have 30 IC. So what do you do in the early period? Well, you actually have a navy as well. 3 ironclads, heavy cruisers, the A class. Okay, and your economic map shows that most of Japan is industrialized, save a few areas. So now what we want to do is we want to build up industry before we can challenge any great power. So we begin by constructing industry wherever we can. And notice that there are some areas that have very little infrastructure, like for example Akita. Those provinces which have less than 40% infrastructure, you cannot build industrial capacity, so you need to have 40 infrastructure. We'll get to that once we run out of provinces to improve. So first of all, we will improve all provinces to a minimum of 2 IC. And once that's done, we'll start improving some outlying provinces as well. So as you can see, I'm producing 1.606 money every day. At this rate, I need some money to spend on my technology, and I have, being one of the superior powers in the game, a quite large assortment of tech teams to work with. Now keep in mind, some countries in this game do not have tech teams at the very start of the game. They begin to have them over time, to reflect against some historical realities. So I want to build things that would be useful to me at the very start of the game. So it's 1881 and I need to have this thing. So now for technology, you need to keep in mind the historical year before you select, because otherwise it will take very long. Do this economy. Intelligence. Okay, we need to have at least a bare minimum of intelligence so that we can at least go for counter-espionage and have a slight idea of how foreign powers are faring and have units. So now they have 29 infantry divisions according to our estimates. So a war with the Qing Empire at this point would be quite suicidal. So we'll get to that later on, but right now we simply can't. So our headquarters cannot attack, so we'll have to shift them to Tokyo, and we'll have to send our divisions to places where the enemy can land troops. So like I'm going to Kagoshima, which has coastal fort as well as a place where enemy can land troops. Rather, I'll send it to Hiroshima right now, and my navy needs to be at front lines to prevent an invasion of Kagoshima or some other place. So Okinawa will have to be sacrificed for now because it's far away. And like I said, need to develop infrastructure so that we can build industries in areas that don't already have them. So we'll build infrastructure in all such provinces. Oh yes, and we can need to change our policy as well. So we'll go to that as soon as we're done with infrastructures. Okay, so what does diplomacy say? Diplomacy says we need to change it. Okay, so here we have free market and central planning. So you can see we actually possess more IC at this age. So this is quite well suited to us. This, on the other hand, might need to be changed. The production time is plus 20, cost is minus 16. So if we try to change it, it will give us no real benefit. Going this way will increase production time and reduce cost by minus 33. That doesn't really suit us, so we'll leave it be. This thing, on the other hand, if it's changed, will reduce our total IC and everything. Decrease the upgrade costs, reduce the tech team salary. So there are a lot of variables that you need to keep in mind. So for now we'll go with this, because this will reduce my production time and cost, and it's the most beneficial of all. The more hawkish lobby. Okay, like I mentioned before, I have this new decision for this game, so we don't really need to build warships by ourselves if we can actually purchase them. I'll have a positive money value, so you can actually purchase a warship. Like for example, we don't have funds at the moment, so we'll leave it be for the time being, and let's concentrate on building battleships so we can face China. At the very least have a strong navy so they won't attack our own islands, that we can concentrate all our focus on the mainland. So we can actually purchase troop ships from this method. So I'll purchase transports, add 108 funds, order 2 of them. So one more thing in this game is that the AI is very interventionist. It means it'll also very likely to force grand alliances and go to war quite early. Now here the Kingdom of Tibet is apparently winning against France. Yeah, well, France is quite unsupplied in this region, so it stands little chance unless it can acquire some territory or allies nearby. Korea is an ally of the Qing Empire, and we would like to have it. Apparently it's not very strong, but it still has a very large army. We're quite lagging in that. But like I said before, our focus right now is not going for arms competition. We first need to build a strong industry. An industry we are building right now. Okay. So let's see what kind of alliances have already been formed. As you can see, this started with just the Kingdom of Korea and Tibet Noble Republic, but now China also has Portugal and Afghanistan in its orbit, and it has become a strong alliance. The other alliance is Germany, the Central Powers. Oh wait, we have built troop ships and they have arrived in our port. Another troop ship has been built, and we have 2 troop ships already. Yay! So we have 1 working port. We would want more, but like I said, industrial capacity comes first, so everything else has to wait. We are quite unprepared to wage an offensive war. The best we can do at the moment is fight a defensive one. So that's what we will do. And China has suddenly increased her units to 37. So yeah, we are actually running out of time as well. But you can see, industrial capacity enables you to wage a long protracted war, which you will ultimately win, even against aggressive, powerful foes. No, I actually forgot to add more of this. So what will I add? So I need to have it in things that are historically possible. So if I were to like select cavalry 97, it will take me ages. Wait, this is already done. I delayed too much. So okay, I'll be giving it Sumimoto to start a light infantry division. I might not need it, I might need it, but the more the merrier. And I'll need, can probably get a torpedo. Good technology. Let's have this thing. So okay, so the nearest thing in my view is this. You can actually go for this with Mitsubishi to Tokyo. And you can see these doing quite rapidly, but this engagement theory is not increasing at all. And there we go, we have industrial capacity and infrastructure in many places, and so you can see Japan rising very fast after this, and it kickstarts. Like I said, we have few provinces which we can improve until we get more infrastructure. So we will have to improve those that already are quite abundant industry. I have to send them to the top. And our industry has already begun to increase. So it was 30 by 25 and now it's 31 by 26. Okay, so we also have the ability to enact this decision, which will create materials for our industries, but we don't really need it right now as we're quite abundant in those. We even have plenty of oil at this moment, something Japan might have to worry on about later in the game. Okay, so you can see engagement theories have only done 1.2%, and even when you start quite early, it only ends up completing its research quite close to the actual historical year. So for the most part, it's just a waste of funds, and I'm actually spending $0.28, which is quite a lot in game terms, as one industrial capacity typically yields you $0.2 per day. And so I'm actually losing nearly 1.5 industrial capacity per day for this thing. But hey, it doesn't matter. So China is probably building more and more divisions without a care in the world for her industry. Now actually they have less now. I wonder how that actually happened. Okay, so I've completed this research as well. Let's go for this one. And okay, so we don't actually really need it, but it's a precursor for a different type of troop ship. But that we'll have to do in late game. Okay. So the next technology that is quite close to the year 1882 is destroyer or torpedo gunboat. So we will use the Yokosuka Naval Yard and try to do this one. No, so okay, so there is some glitch in the game, apparently, but it's a decision about killing a minister, getting rid of him for the sake of reducing dissent, or keeping with him. I don't know what minister this is, but ultimately Japan gets pretty cool ministers. So I'll go for a small time hit dissent. This will ultimately reduce, then get rid of a useful minister who will come later on in the game. So as we were going, we were checking about the other countries, and so yeah, it has brought the Kongbon Kingdom, the old name of Burma, to its orbit as well. And Germany has brought Italy as well as Egypt into its orbit. Not to mention the Sultanate of Sokoto, the old name for Nigeria. Mexico is apparently alone, so is Brazil, and Peru, Bolivia. They're actually Bolivia has reconquered some Peruvian territory, whereas Chile has conquered even more than just Lima from Peru. And some partisans had risen up in Bolivian territory as well. This is quite interesting. So even this early in the game, you can pretty much see the industrial powerhouse is still the United States. It has 206 IC. And the next greatest power, Germany, has 131. So you can pretty much imagine the rest are quite far behind. So we have troop ship, we can get to build something else, like for example an armored cruiser, maybe. Or maybe even a sensor stabilizing machine. As this is the most skilled team available, I'll use this. And we have built-in infrastructure as well. You can see we are producing 5 IC on infrastructure, which we can use instead to build another factory. So where we will build this new factory? Let's see. Let's build it in Kyoto and put it at the top of the queue. And so we can change the policy again. So if possible, I'm going to go more hawkish, as yes, it does reduce production and production time and cost. I'm actually running out of money here as well, and all my industries are doing are producing more factories, more IC for me to work on. And it says that I will be able to make one by January 22, 1884, and March 12, 1883, the earliest. It's just coming the next month. So you can see, while I am progressing by industry, China is still behind, Korea is still behind, pretty much other countries are still behind. The United States is still too far ahead for me to catch on, but I'm doing pretty decent here. So let's build some more IC in provinces where we can actually build more IC, like Osaka and Kobe. Nagano and Yokohama. And we'll put these 4 industries back on top so that we again have a massive machine juggernaut, rather, building large amounts of industries to make Japan great in this era. So Kanazawa will pretty soon have 14 infrastructures to enable us to build industrial capacity. And once I cross a certain threshold of industries, I will have a fourth research team to enhance my research progress. Hiroshima also has now 30 plus, and soon we'll have 40. Actually, I like to cancel the new structure for Hiroshima and use it instead to build industry somewhere else. Like for example in Kanazawa. There you go. So that's all folks for now. We'll be back soon once I have sufficient industries to make war on China. And this was just to give you a brief overview of the mod I created, the 1881 scenario, and just as a last point, show you what countries actually exist on the map. This might be a little late, but still, here goes. The Qing Empire, a dynasty ruling China. In fact, the last dynasty replaces the traditional Chinese, so you can actually use that, as well as its vassal. It's supposed to be a vassal, it's an ally in this game. You have the princely states of India, you have the state of Hyderabad, Kashmir, the Hindu princely states, as well as the Muslim princely states, Nepal, Bhutan, all vassals of the British Empire. You have the Kanban Kingdom, named for Burma is mentioned, the Kingdom of Siam as it was at that time, and the Sultanate of Malacca in the south, Sultanate of Aceh in Indonesia, the Sultanate of Brunei. And you can also see some historical changes that I inadvertently made in this area of the world as well. And so here you have the Sultanate of Oman, the expanded state, Kingdom of Najd, Saudi Arabia at the time, and the Ottoman Empire's extents in 1881. It's slightly greater than in 1914. And then you have the Qajar Empire, Iran's second last dynasty. You have the Khanate of Khiva and Bukhara, not yet annexed by Russia. You have also the Khilivate of Egypt, which was at that time, the start of 1881, independent. In fact, after 1881, the bombardment of Alexandria and the rebellion inside Egypt against British rule that actually led to its complete colonization and the occupation of Sudan by the British. You have the Sultanate of Zanj, which was a slave trading empire, in fact one of the last and one of the most largest such empires to exist, primarily from the island of Zanzibar. And it was an actual distant offshoot of Yemen and Oman. You have the Abyssinian Empire, which was actually much smaller at this time period, but here it incorporates almost all the other tribes that also existed in the region at that time. You have the Belgian Congo as part of Belgium, and you have the German territories at the moment. You can still see there are some discrepancies in this map as well, which may or may not be changed because it actually reflects flavor in the game. You have this Liberia, which was pretty much the same, and you have this rather large Boerland, which actually was quite south in Africa before the Boers were forced to move northwards from South Africa. And it didn't actually have all these territories. where they are given simply to be given a chance at fighting through various victory points. Moving on, we have pretty much the same scenario in South America, with the exception of the War of the Pacific between Peru, Bolivia, and Chile. Similar Central America and Northern America, as well as Europe. So well then, that's all folks for the time being. Stay tuned. We'll meet again in another video. Till then, bye bye.